Well, good morning. It's Mel Tempest from the Gym Owners Business Podcast. And this morning, I'm interviewing the amazing and very bright profile of Dave Wright from Myzone. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Mel. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It's absolutely exciting to have you on board for our coffee podcast this morning. So let's get things underway. Just a couple of quick questions at the very start. We would love to know where Myzone came from and how you came up with the name Myzone, because how many years has it been now? 7 or 8 years?
Yeah, it's about 7. It's about 7 years. It was sort of like an epiphany about 8 or 9 years ago. Just in regards to understanding, I suppose, where the industry is, what makes people tick, and trying to come up with a solution, and that's where I suppose Myzone sort of like bred from, years of speaking to consumers who didn't want to exercise, seeing how people would go to gyms and sort of like not feel good about it. And so the whole purpose of Myzone is to help people feel good about exercise, whether it's pre, post, or during the case. So we called it Myzone because everyone has their own zone, and I suppose for too many years, and still continues to the day, is that you go into gyms and it's famous for keeping fit people fitter. It's great if you're in that top 2 or 3%, but it sort of like sucks for everyone else. So what we wanted to do is create a system that was going to reward the effort that people put in, to say, hey, look, it doesn't matter how good you are, we just want you to focus and work in your own zone, your zone. No one else is yours, so that therefore, it's personal to you.
So, Dave, Myzone is now known as the #1 wearable across many platforms globally. Do you think that's because of the results that it's giving the participants?
I think we actually we took probably a different approach when we first launched. Firstly, when we first launched, we had to sort of like explain to people what the cloud was. Now, wearables have been around for many, many years, or heart rate monitors have been around and tracking devices have been around for many, many years. It's just become a sort of like buzzword in the last 4 or 5 years. However, a lot of people that have tried to come into the space, they're actually not from the industry. As you know, I'm a club owner across 2 continents. We've come from the industry, so we sort of like understand the industry. So we look at it using technology to enhance the issues within the industry. I think a lot of PE firms and venture capitalists, they sort of look on the media and they try and parachute into our industry, but don't understand the challenges or what makes people tick. And I suppose we've had that benefit of being able to look through the eyes of an operator, and also most importantly the customer at a club.
I agree with that, Dave. There's nothing worse than somebody putting a product out into the marketplace but doesn't actually understand the consumer that's involved in the product. So I believe that part of Myzone's success, of course, comes from people that are obviously in the fitness industry. And, I know that you guys are club owners and you work out every day. And so you have a better understanding of the empathy of the consumer and also the club owner. Now, I am really, really excited about something new that Myzone has just launched, and that is ZoneMatch. And I think this is a #1 killer for clubs, and they need to get on board with this. So can you take me through ZoneMatch, what it's going to do for the participant and how it's going to help the club owner with retention?
Well, ZoneMatch is a very, very simple sort of like cardio game where you match your zone with a pre-programmed class. So you sort of like it's a game where you can actually anyone and everyone can play, where you just match your effort to the effort of the screens and the various different effort screens. And what you do is you actually the greater that you match, or your highest compliance with the screen, the higher your zone match score. So it's an absolute terrific way to burn away, whether it's 20, 30 or 60 minutes of cardio, whether it's interval training, and it's a terrific way that you can do it. Now, ZoneMatch that was the original launch of, or the original plan for Myzone was actually not going to be called Myzone. I was originally going to launch a thing called Mega Training. Mega being metabolic enhancing group activity. That was the whole thing. We were going to launch mega training. So it was going to be, you could do a mega cycle or a mega cardio or a mega functional. And that whole metabolic enhancing group activity was all about interval training back before interval training became popular. And then we were going to effectively launch this ZoneMatch style program 7 or 8 years ago. And then when we dug deeper into it, we thought, hang on a minute. For this to work, you need an accurate device to be able to do it. So it's not something that you can just pick up a wrist monitor or even a typical off-the-shelf heart rate monitor. The actual device has to be such a high fidelity of accuracy, or else you can't play the game. So we went around and created our own. So that's where we sort of like launched down the whole part of Myzone. But ZoneMatch itself is a phenomenal group activity where you can effectively say, hey, pick your poison. If you want to go on a row, go on a row. If you want to go on a cross train or a HIIT machine, or a kettlebell or a battle ropes, go for it. And anyone can play that game. I've done this with 4-year-old children in a sports hall with their 60-year-old teacher. A simple game, ZoneMatch. Everyone's just got to move and match the colours. Now, and therefore, the higher the compliance score, the higher your advantage of sort of like of winning. But what we've done recently, though, Mel, which is I suppose relevant for you now, is that we've actually launched it in the app, in the Myzone app. And this here is pretty excited. So there's about 30 to 40 programs, so that a consumer or a Myzone user can just fire up their Myzone app, click on the ZM, which is the ZoneMatch button, and play their music in the background, and then just charge away at a bit of cardio. So it's pretty cool for that. And there are so many implications that helps operators to get the most out of it.
So with ZoneMatch, Dave, are you saying that it's not just for the participant in the club, that this is something that, say, a club owner is running kids' fitness classes, or they're marketing their club towards sporting clubs like football clubs or cricket clubs that come in for in-house training? This is something that those people can be using?
Without a shadow of a doubt. It's a terrific way. So if you want to get a sports team in there, and if you want to speak to their coach and you say, okay, this is the type of interval profile we're going to do. It might involve a bit of HIIT training. It might involve a bit of high intensity, and then drop down to a bit of recovery, down into the blue and the green, and you can actually create the profile. Invite the team in. And tell them to say, hey, just jump on a piece of cardio. We're going to do a 45-minute session, and all the instructor needs to do, and it's very simple to explain, everyone, match your effort to the prescribed effort on the screen. Whoever matches it the best wins the game. And then what you can effectively do, and particularly if you've got school groups or if you've got sports teams, you can effectively say, right, the bottom 3 scores, by the top 3 scores a beer or a protein shake after the session. And all you have to do, bit of music on, press play, and then come back in 45 minutes. The screen just takes them on that journey. So it's extremely easy to do. But the important thing, the important thing about Myzone, and in particular ZoneMatch, is that physiologically everyone is going through the exact same pain thresholds together. And if you've got a room of 20, 30, 40, I've done it with 120 people in China with Johnny G in a quiet room, with 120 people on the screen, and we just did a 30-minute zone match, and everyone was effectively synchronizing, jamming together at the same effort level, going through the different zones and the different journeys together. It's something special, because guaranteed in every single class around the world, every single day, there will be someone that will be doing that session, and it'll be too easy for them, and it'll be too hard for someone else, and it will be just right for a few people. But the whole point of ZoneMatch is that you are irrespective of the level of fitness, because it's based on effort and because it's based on intensity, a percentage of intensity. Everyone can go through that exact same journey, and when they've left, whether they're an elite athlete or they're a beginner, they've left that session physiologically experiencing the same effort levels, and there's something about that which just takes it to a whole new level.
And with Myzone, Dave, you obviously have a point system in place where participants earn points related to the colour of the zones that they're in. I have to be honest with you here. Some of the club owners I find are still struggling with how to run challenges in their club and how to explain the reward system to their members. Now, you're a club owner and I'm a club owner. So if you were to walk into a club today and you were to launch Myzone, first of all, how would you explain the point system to the participants in the club? And what are 3 things that you would do to get Myzone fired up in your club?
Okay. First and foremost, to explain the point system is, we would be saying, hey, look, it's a very simple point system based on effort. The hotter the colour, the harder the effort. And, what you do is between 50 to 60%, you get 1 point per minute, which is in the grey zone. You get 2 points per minute in the blue, 3 points per minute in the green, and 4 points per minute in the yellow or red. So effectively, the harder that you work out, or the harder the effort you put in, the more points you earn. So it's effectively acknowledging, rather than fitness over time, it's acknowledging effort over time. So if you want to be efficient with your timing, you would say, okay, Bob, Frank, Mary, you've got 60 minutes. In that 60 minutes, you can work out nice and easy on the recumbent bike for 60 minutes in the grey zone, 50%. You would earn 60 points, right? However, if you sort of maybe put in a little bit more effort in that same 60 points, you could maybe do 20 minutes, say walking up a hill or on an incline in the green zone, which is 70 to 80%, and where you're earning 3 points per minute, and you would earn the same amount of points. So it's an easy way for people to be more efficient with their time. What I would also do is I would make sure that my instructors all had Myzone belts, and that they connected with their members. So I would sort of allocate maybe about 20 to 30 of my key members, that people that have sort of that are really influential in the club, that I would sort of thank them for their custom and thank them for their loyalty. And I'd say, look, we've got a special, thing here that we would love you to, it's normally $150, but we're giving it to you to get started, and we'd love to say thank you for that. What I'd also do is I would also create a simple challenge for a month, and that simple challenge would be around ZoneMatch classes that people could do by themselves. So I would say, as a simple challenge, if you participate and you do 3 ZoneMatch classes, so you could do a 60-minute recuperator, which is mainly blue and green class. You could do a 45-minute roller coaster and a 30-minute ripper. And the people, when they do that class, they get a ZoneMatch score, and the aggregation, whoever's got the highest ZoneMatch score for the whole month of March, they would get $200. So it's as simple, and they can try as many times as they like to do that.
I like that idea, Dave, because at the end of the day, really, participants are just competing with themselves, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
the whole point about it.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of of Myzone and ZoneMatch. Now, a question that I wanted to ask you was, we've been utilising ZoneMatch in our club for a little bit. I would suggest to club owners, and I'd love your feedback, if they've had Myzone in their club for 5 or 6 years, I would actually be relaunching Myzone again so that I could relaunch or launch ZoneMatch. So it'd be like relaunching the product within the product. And I think that a lot of the clubs, if they're clever, when they start to utilise ZoneMatch in their club, that they have a ZoneMatch week, and every day that they come in with their members at perhaps, around their peak times, 5:30, 6:15 of a night time, they could be running one of the different ZoneMatch classes. Now, something that some people have asked me about ZoneMatch is, how do I make ZoneMatch happen on the screen? So actually, you've got the classes set up in the back end of the website there. So as a club owner, I go in, I can select any of your ZoneMatch classes, and I can schedule them so that they run in with, say, my HIIT classes. That's correct, yes?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Sorry, so you log in, I pick one of your 45-minute classes, my members come in to do a HIIT class, and I say, guys, today we're going to work out with ZoneMatch. Here it is up on the screen, and it's going to go through the colours up here, and you're going to hold the green or the red or the yellow zone for that amount of time. I think that this is an awesome opportunity for club owners to be educating the participants as they're actually doing it, because they're up there on the screen. It's not just about being in the phone. I think this would be an awesome opportunity for club owners to utilise that tool to launch ZoneMatch in their club under their Myzone. What do you think of that concept?
Look, without a shadow of a doubt. So there's about 30 or 40 programs that are pre-written and on the system, so that all the operator has to do is effectively load the class and select the time period, select which class they would like to do, and then they're away. So anyone in the room, they can actually they can participate. For clubs and in this type of setting, what's very important is that you don't take your car and stick it in 8,000 revs and drive that for 45 minutes. However, that happens in almost every class all the time. So what this does is this teaches the participants the importance of recovery. It teaches them the importance of knowing how their body works, and how they can push it and how they can pull back. It's a very, very easy way to incorporate. But what you also need to do is you also absolutely make sure that you've got demo belts, say loaner belts, ready to go at a click of a button, so that people they can actually have a taste of it without necessarily having to buy a Myzone belt straight away. So it's just a very easy way to get people. So if you are putting that on, make sure you use the demo belt feature. In an ideal world, you'd love them all to have a Myzone belt, but if you want to get them to taste it first, get them to do the ZoneMatch. They don't get an email afterwards. They don't get their post summary. But what they do is they get to experience it on the screen during the class. And for the operators as well, it's a great way to get some use on your cardio, to disperse it throughout the actual the club. So inviting groups down, or literally having dedicated weeks. Get some nice music to match, and you're away.
Fantastic. So, Dave, also I've noted, and I've been utilising it in my own club, is the virtual classes that you have. How successful have they been for clubs?
I mean, look, the virtual classes I mean, they're free, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
So as an operator, we love them because they're free. We're about to release and update a whole new tranche of new virtual classes. So it's fantastic. The important thing to understand is, as an operator, you've got your screen there. You want to maximize it, and if someone walks in and does a virtual or does a class and they don't have a Myzone belt on, then you've got the full screen of the virtual class on the screen. But if a person comes in, or 2 or 3 people comes in, then the screen readjusts to give the feedback. If you are doing virtual without feedback, you might as well be watching bloody CNN or TV. There is no connection with just you might as well have the old Oz aerobics on TV. The whole point of any form of virtual video is that you need that two-way feedback. Customers must have that feedback. They need to know, and it just takes it to that next level. So, the classes have been extremely popular. There's some great ones such as yoga and the likes. But hey, it's an important thing, particularly independent operators or big chain. I used to say that with my classes. If I've got 1 or 2 spin classes or cycling classes a day, that means those bikes are not actually used for 22 hours out of the day. So it's just a great way to get your asset, both the bike asset or the Group X asset, as well as your Myzone asset and the screens working for you, and that's why we made the call to include those free with the screens.
As I said, Dave, I think they're absolutely fantastic. I use your virtual cycle classes myself as a background drop to my live classes, and the members absolutely love it. They say that the class is over in no time. And, with all of these fantastic tools that you have for club owners, I can see why Myzone is the number 1 wearable globally. And you're even going to lift the game higher. My God, you have some amazing news coming out of Ihrsa in a couple of weeks' time. What's happening?
Well, Mel, I would love to share that with you right now. We have got just some tremendous news that we're going to be releasing at Ihrsa. It's going to be a drop the mic situation. So it's effectively Myzone 3.0. And it's probably the most excited that I've been in the last 7 or 8 years in the launch that we're going to do. Once again, as an operator, seeing through the lens of an operator, and technology's changed over the years, and I think we've sort of like continued to be at the what we'd like to. So we've got the good fortune of with about 6,000 clubs in 64 countries around the world, that we're old enough, young enough, and ugly enough to know that we can still improve, and we get some great feedback, and we're quite privileged in being able to visit some of the most innovative clubs around the world and get all new ideas, and then sort of like see how they can be applied to my own clubs, and then subsequently into the Myzone system, which will be launched at Ihrsa. But fundamentally, and I do want to sort of like come back to this point, is there's you can constantly think about the science of heart rate and science of technology and all this, but the pure purpose of Myzone is to help people feel good about exercise, whether it's pre, during, or post. And everything that we do is to effectively help people feel good about exercise. That's why we do it with the accuracy. That's why we do it with the point system. That's why we do it focusing on effort. That's what we do it with the ability to like and comment and get the emails, to create groups, to be able to have the screens, to be able to have the ZoneMatch, our whole objective continues to be to help people feel good about exercise. And if we can do that, we're going to increase the people to come back. And if people continue to come back, then they're going to stay longer and pay longer, and operators make more money. And that's the overall objective of what we, try to, it's at the core of what we want to achieve. And it's not just about creating a cool, sexy wearable device. We've seen so many of those come and go over the years because they don't get it. They don't understand what it is that the industry that we're in, and which is a terrific industry that we're in. And long may with fantastic, organizations such as, the Gym Owners Network and all that, spreading that love, spreading that knowledge and spreading the word of all the great things that are out there. It's only going to, there's only great things for the future of the industry.
I agree with you, Dave, and I'm really looking forward to what the next few years brings for Myzone. And you know what? I'm really looking forward to Ihrsa, and I'm hoping that a lot of our club owners that are listening today get along to the Myzone stand at Ihrsa, and also I hope to meet a lot of them at the Myzone breakfast. Now, Dave will be at Ihrsa, which is just in a few weeks' time, and then also at Filex here in Sydney, Australia. Now, Dave, I've seen what's coming up at Ihrsa. It's super, super exciting. I urge all club owners to go along and speak to the boys on the stand, because this is a tool that is going to change the way the community sees your club. And I think that every single club owner needs to take note of what Myzone is doing in the industry. The retention results in my club have escalated since I took the belt on. The results of my members has been absolutely incredible. It's the most affordable tool that everybody can afford to have, and I strongly urge club owners to get along, speak to the boys and the ladies on the Myzone stand at Ihrsa, find out more about ZoneMatch, have a look out for all of their news. And Dave, it's been absolutely fantastic speaking to you this morning. I know that you put this time aside for me, especially when you've got a big week coming up, and I hope that you have an awesome time at your conference that you're going to. Is there anything that you would like to add to today's podcast that will even incentivize the club owners even more to come and see you at Ihrsa and Filex?
As you've just thrown me on the spot there. It's
I love to do that with you, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, come along for the first 75 people that come along to the Myzone booth.
Dave will shout you a free coffee.
a free coffee. Look, once again, it's although I live in the UK now, but there's a couple of Aussies here having a crack, launching this business around the world, and we always love coming back to Australia and seeing all our friends and co-workers and all the great stories of how various operators have embraced Myzone. And I think people like yourself, Mel, and there's quite a few clubs in Australia that are sort of like taken on Myzone in blind faith, I suppose, and I hope we've sort of like done you proud, and we really do appreciate the early adopters in the global industry, because it's always we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for the early adopters sort of like taking faith and showing the support in new technologies and new business strategies to help more people be more active more often. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Dave. Dave Wright from Myzone, thank you very much for your time today. I look forward to catching up with you at Ihrsa. I'll drop all of Dave's details in the bottom of our podcast in script form. Otherwise, Dave, again, thank you very much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you for joining the Gym Owners Podcast, sponsored and supported by National Fitness Business Alliance and Gym Click Media. Find Mel Tempest on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Join us next time for the Gym Owners Podcast.